Alright people, what's going on? Denonu here, the man with black privilege, and we're going to be doing things a little bit different. In this video here, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be covering the first episode of Season 3 of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Television show. I figured I'm going to be doing things a little bit different as far as this video and upcoming videos, because this is really the first time I'm doing a video or a review of a TV episode, but I figured just to show my personality more, I'm gonna bring in other types of videos that may not be, let's say, gaming related, but it's based on stuff that I really like. And as a huge comic book buff, I'm not a super duper hardcore fan, but I've been watching and reading comic books for like the past 25 years. But I figured, since I'm gonna be watching the television shows anyway, I might as well give my thoughts on them. And I know a lot of other channels do that too. So anyway, to just jump right into it, like I said, I'm a huge comic book buff, so I've already seen seasons 1 and 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And this season 3, I didn't know what to expect from it. I mean, they seem to be going the X-Men side of things with like mutants popping up everywhere and everything like that. So they're kind of sort of doing that, but with Inhumans. And I know Marvel is also doing that in the comic books. It seems like they're trying to phase mutancy and the X gene and all of that shit out. I don't know if they're doing that because, they don't own the rights to the movies, so they feel as though they're not making money on the characters, or they don't know what to do with their stories, but whatever. This episode, like I said, it started out strong. Like you had Daisy and Mac rescuing this one guy who was a newly formed Inhuman. I'm assuming that's going to be the theme of season 3. Is they're going to be going around, rescuing various Inhumans, and then you got the overarching plot on top of that of them fighting whoever the main bad guy is of the show. But you had a lot of strong performances. Like Daisy was pretty good. The new Inhuman guy, I forget what his name is. I don't know if he's going to be a mainstay on the show, like the black guy from season 1 who later became Deathstroke. Not Deathstroke, damn. Like I said, huge comic book buff, getting my stuff mixed up. Just committed blasphemy. He became Deathlock in season 1 and 2. I'm assuming the new Inhuman guy, whose ability is he can liquefy metal. I don't know if they're going to get more in detail with what his powers are. I know most Inhumans, they control their, they're like mutants where it's like, okay, yeah, you may be able to do this, but here's the reason to do this, and it's more of a science reason behind it. So, but the only thing that they've shown him doing is able to liquefy metal. And I'm assuming he's going to be a mainstay on the show throughout the season. That'll be cool. But you had a lot of strong performances by even other side characters like Fitz. Love his whole transition from from the end of season 2 to now, to where you can see where when Simmons got sucked into the monolith, that kind of sort of changed his whole mentality. He went from being that spotty, sort of mental guy who was sometimes there, and other times he was there, to being completely focused on, that's like his whole thing, is trying to find a reason to save her. And it's kind of almost like Batman-esque as far as like your motivations and drive to do something, where it's completely one-sided. But liking that change though, really am. You also had the other, I don't know what to call it, the other military force that they were fighting with throughout the show. In the beginning, they were the ones who, or S.H.I.E.L.D. and company, thought that they were another agency that was going around, and let's say whenever an Inhuman would pop up, they would be killing them instead of rescuing them like they were doing. But apparently, they weren't the ones going around killing them, because I think you had Coulson sit down with this other woman who led them, and they were discussing who was going around killing them, because they both thought that they were the ones that was going around killing the people rather than saving them. They never really said who she works for or anything like that. I'm assuming it's going to be like an overall, an overreaching thing through, like, we may find out like halfway in the season. but I think she might be working for, and this is just, I'm just calling it out. I don't have no evidence to support this. This is just me pulling comic book knowledge out my ass, but I think it's that she may be working for S.H.I.E.L.D. Judging because they referenced, I think, NASA as one of her aliases that she worked for. And if, I know in Marvel, for those who don't know, you have S.H.I.E.L.D., which is a multinational peacekeeping force, thing. That's why they're called S.H.I.E.L.D., because they protect. But S.W.O.R.D. was kind of like the shield of space, where S.H.I.E.L.D. protected Earth and Earthbound threats like people, terrorists, things like that. S.W.O.R.D. dealt with extraterrestrial threats to Earth, and they were pretty much like something similar, but they dealt with, like I said, spatial stuff, not stuff from Earth. And that's why they were called S.W.O.R.D., because the sword and shield and stuff like that. So I think she may be the leader for S.W.O.R.D., only because the only thing that kind of sort of threw that hint to me when I was watching the episode a few minutes ago was whenever they showed her or her people, 9 times out of 10, they were always attacking. Whereas Coulson and company, they're always reactive, so it's just, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but that was the first thing that hit me was like, they're always attacking, and like I said, I have no evidence to support that. So if I'm right, I'm right down the line, but I don't know. I mean, I just have a really a gut feeling that she's working for S.W.O.R.D., or they may mention that. I don't know if they're going to dive into all of the stuff, but it makes sense because if I remember right, I think Miss Marvel, the older Miss Marvel now, not the newer one, but the older Miss Marvel character, I think she was a part of S.W.O.R.D. at one time, but I could be wrong. But if they decide to go that route, it would only, because I know Miss Marvel has a movie coming out, so it would only make sense for, let's say, S.W.O.R.D. to, let's say, exist and have her, she's an agent of them rather than S.H.I.E.L.D., and then they can tie, they could tie it all in. So, but other than that, you had a really nice setup. You had a really nice setup as far as stuff going on. You got some new gadgets. They had, they got the new plane, the new bus, looking all badass with the 4 big turbines on the wings and stuff. You had this little rocket elevator thing that they used the shuttle the Inhuman guy back up. That was pretty cool. Also, Coulson and Hunter used it to escape when they was on the subway train. Don't ask me how they pulled that off, because trains run underground, so unless that thing can smash through tons of feet in rock and earth to get to that train track to get them. So, but it seems like that might be like a running theme that they maybe, like it's something that you're going to see multiple times as this, as the series progresses. So, they also had this, I don't know how to describe it, but the main, I don't know, I really don't know whether to call him the main bad guy because we don't know, but you had this guy, the one guy who was going around killing the Inhumans, because they had a scene where I think in order to get the one guy that they rescued to calm down and to try to work with him, Daisy and Mac went to go talk with Lincoln, the guy from the Inhuman guy from last season. But he really wants nothing to do with the Inhumans after what happened at the end of season 2. And while they were having that little, tit for tat there, this big, Blanka from Street Fighter comes busting in, looking like he's Akuma and shit, vaporizing people's hearts or whatever he was doing. And they were trying to fight him, and he was like just taking all of their attacks and stuff. And it's just, it doesn't look bad. I mean, I'm not laughing because it looked bad, but it's just the whole time I'm seeing it, I'm assuming he's like a Kree warrior or something like that. So, but, because none of their attacks were hurting him. And, I know the Kree were, that was like their thing, was like adapting to change, and their science was so good that they can do all of this badass shit with it. So I'm assuming either he's a Kree warrior or he is an agent of the Kree that's basically trying to hunt down Inhumans and kill them. Or it could be some third party that they haven't shown yet. But Like, he looks just like, think Blanca, but blue. And the only thing he wasn't doing was having like, like electricity, but they had, it was done pretty well. From what I've heard about other people's videos and stuff, they were talking about, like, apparently a picture of him leaked out earlier, before the season came out, and people didn't like the way he looked, but I know I never saw that, but judging from the, from what he looked like on the TV show, it looked pretty good. They never showed, what's the one chick, Raina, I think her name was, from season 1 and 2. They never showed her in this episode, but I'm assuming she's going to pop up later, even though I'm not a really big fan of her character in the show. But this episode was a great episode to start off with, to be honest. It kind of sort of set the foundation for the new season. I know a lot of shows tend to not get a lot of things right when it comes to, the first episode. Normally they take like the first 3 or 4 episodes to get moving on something. But this kind of sort of set the tone as far as what it's going to be. Like, okay, these are these guys. Here's the framework. You know what the good guys are going to be doing. It kind of sort of set the foundation for the season overall, right from the get-go. And it seems to be carrying the same tone that it did at the end of season 2, which is not that, bad. I mean, the ending of season 2 was kind of sort of, they're riding the line between, let's say, humor and funny and jokes into being like like a darker tone themes and death and murder. So I think that's pretty good. They don't want to jump all the way into the complete mature, death and dark tones. Let's say they don't want to make like a Batman TV show, but at the same time, they realize that, you have to make something humorous. They're doing the same thing that the movies are doing too. So I think that's pretty good. But overall, I liked episode 1. Really did. I can't wait for episode 2. I know I'm going to try to do videos like this, not only for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I know The Flash too. I know I got to play catch up with Arrow, but I know once the new season of that drops, I'm going to try to do these for that too, because I know I'll watch that too, since it's a comic book based show. But I know I'm definitely going to be doing Flash too, because I loved what they did of season 1 and that, besides, a few things. So I'm going to try to do these same things or these same videos every week, the day after each one of those TV shows comes out. So if you guys want to see more from like this, please do let me know. And also let me know down there in the comments what you guys think. My name is Denonu, the man with the most biggest and most blackest privilege on YouTube. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.